microfinances banks. The money is not supposed to be put in their microfinances bank, and I insist, there is no commandment in this world, if not Ghana, that pastors are sitting now for radio presenters to use God's name throughout the day and mock our God. No radio presenter or TV presenter that has been called by Christ. They are journalists. They should stay in their vocation that the Lord has called them. Enough is enough by using the name of our God in vain. It's the reason why Ghana is sinking. I'm warning Ghanaians that Ghana is the New Jerusalem kingdom, and nobody should be allowed to use the Bible to swear in any court, because you don't believe our God, which is King David's throne. We have come to stay. We are ruling the world. My point is that it's been a time that Ghanaians should be enlightened that it is not what you believe that the Constitution of Ghana will allow you to swear on.
It's another episode of the Governor's Show, and our discussion on signs of end time continues today. My name is Suleiman Isa, and right after the break we'll meet my guest, Governor Ajiman. Welcome back. In the last episode, we looked at some minor signs of the end time, which Governor Ajiman made references to homosexuality, spiritualism being on the rise, and natural disasters also being on the rise at some of the signs of end time. Now, Governor Ajiman, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Right, so today, can we look at other signs of end time, especially the four horsemen of the apocalypse?
Yeah, right. Let's take ourselves right to Zechariah chapter 6. And I read, it's about the four chariots of divine judgment. So you set the record straight. So, and I turned, this is the revelation revealed to Zechariah. And I turned and lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, there came four chariots out from heaven, out from between two mountains, and the mountains were mountains of brass. The two mountains are the two olive trees. So out of one mountain, which is one candlestick, cometh the two mountains, which is two olive trees, and out of the two olive trees, which is two mountains, cometh the four mountains, which is the four chariots or the four horses. So that's in order which would follow through. So it says that in the first chariots were red horses, and in the second chariots black horses. We will look at this in Revelation 6 to see how it functions, or how it has come to rule the world in divine judgment. And in the third horses, in the third chariots, white horses, and in the fourth chariots, grizzled and bay horses, which in the book of Revelation says pale or speckled horses. Then I answered and said unto the angel, and talked with me, what are these, my Lord? And the angel answered and said unto me, these are the four spirits of the heavens, which go forth from standing before the Lord of all the earth. So now the definition is clear, that the four horses are the four spirits that stand in for heaven on earth to execute divine judgment to
create heaven on earth.
Yeah, of course, because we were waiting as the prayer was left, that pray that the kingdom of God will come on earth, and let thy will also be done on earth, as it said in Mark 9:1, that there are some of you who will taste heaven on earth. But that is what we were waiting for, those of us who would taste heaven on earth to execute this judgment. My point is, these people are the returns of the governor, which will link to the 144,000 nobles. They are all part of, you see, we're talking about chariots and horses in it, chariots and horses in it, chariots. And one of my revelations that the Muslim lady, I'm talking about the Sierra Leonean lady in London who saw me first, said she saw me riding on a horse, white horse, and innumerable horses were following me pale red, this is exactly the time. We have to be very, very conscientious of this revelation, because to this end was I born, and that's the reason why I've come to Ghana. Otherwise, I would have been in exile, but it is too little, too late. So I'm linking this to Revelation 7, so you know that here he mentioned horses or chariots, but there he mentioned angels, which is the 4 governors who are coming to help me to do this job before we call the 144,000 governors. So let's check it from Revelation 6. It says, and I saw when the lamp was open and this one of the seal, and I heard, as it were, the noise of thunder. One of the 4 beasts saying, "Come and see." And behold, a white horse. When you pick it from verse 3, he says, "Come and see a red horse." You pick it from verse 5, he says, "Come and see a black horse." You pick it from verse 9, he says, "Behold, come and see a pale horse." So now, at least we've made sense of these. But the chapter 7 talks about what I am telling the whole world now. It says, "After these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that they should not blow on the earth, not on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried in a loud voice to the 4 angels." So we go by the voice of Christ, because we stand in for Christ or for heaven, as you heard in Zechariah. Zechariah saw this revelation. The reason why this is very key is that the 5-fold ministries, which is the church, they want to take something from the Old Testament and then use it for their glory, like the tithing. But when it comes to apostasy like this, or the apocalypse like this, they are what? Dodging the fact. Because if you can take tithe from Malachi 3, and then Revelation 7 is linked to the Zechariah's revelation, then the Bible is one. That is both the Old Testament and New Testament. So I'm warning pastors who says they are under grace and therefore they are not under the Old Testament. Should be very, very cautious of their words, because that is also sign of the end times, as leaders who are playing tricks in the kingdom of God. Leaders who have vowed to take some positions and they are playing cat and mouse game in the kingdom of God.
So can we say that the creation of heaven on earth, this is the prophecy that fulfills it?
Period. Period. And we know ourselves, it's been activated on us. The Spirit of the Lord is poured upon us. You were asking me of the significance of the horses, and I was starting from the red horse, because that is very, very key. I told you, or I told the viewers, that the red horse was revealed to Zechariah in his generation, that it would be revealed every year on the 24th day of the 11th month. So because the Lord revealed the calendar, the law to me, the calendar law that the Bible uses, I always go by the year, the day, and the month that the red horse is released, which is yearly. But then I was using countries to make sense of this apocalypse. My point is that Damascus, which is the capital of Syria, is been way back, and that the dynasty of Damascus cannot be tampered with. The regency of Damascus cannot be destroyed unless it is by the Creator. When in the book of Kings, 1 Kings chapter 19, when Elijah was tired and he wanted to stop his journey, the Lord asked him to go to the wilderness of Damascus, where he said he should bless Hazael to be the king of Syria, which is capital of Damascus. And then anyone who escapes from Damascus, which is the hand of the king, the king of Samaria will take over, which is Jehu. And then anyone who escapes from Samaria, then Elisha, who will stand in his room, will take over. This can be linked to when Paul, in Acts chapter 9, when Paul had taken bribe from the church, which is these pastors. Because when I came, anybody who hears my voice says, the pastors will kill you. The pastors or the church will kill you. Or the kings will kill you. Or the politicians will kill you. I say, what have I done to be killed? I am not afraid to die. I'm a man. To this end was I born. But if I've done any wrong to the church or to Ghanaians, then you can kill me.
So the red horsemen, in your interpretation, is referring to a nation.
A nation, which I'm dwelling on. It's good to make these points to know that it's the same thing. My point is that when Paul took bribe from the head of the churches to go to the wilderness of Damascus, he was struck by the Spirit that you cannot touch Damascus. Damascus cannot be touched by America, by any United Nation force, or any nation that says who he is. Because it's a dynasty that has to be looked at to know the creation power, Damascus. But it is God himself who would kindle fire against it, which has already been done. Because what is happening in Damascus is the timing I was waiting for, as the Lord revealed to me that wait till I touch Damascus. But there is nobody who can come from without to touch Damascus, as he revealed to me. And it's exactly what has happened. Not like Iraq, or Libya, or Sierra Leone, or Vietnam, or any other war that has gone through the universe. So date. Damascus has to fight as the release of the red horse. So it is mentioned, and I want to make reference in Jeremiah. Let me quickly make reference, so you know that it is concerning Damascus. Nobody can touch it. Jeremiah chapter 49. It is very dangerous to touch a nation that is blessed. Jeremiah chapter 49, I'm taking it from verse 23. It says, concerning Damascus and Hamath. It says, concerning Damascus, Hamath is confounded, and Apha, for they have heard evil tidings. They are faint-hearted. There is sorrow on the sea. It cannot be quiet. Damascus is wax feeble. That is what has happened. So this is the timing of some of the major end time signs that Damascus will wax feeble by themselves, which is the release of the red horse. Not anybody coming from outside to touch the nation. It will wax feeble from within, which was the timing I was waiting for, which is called from mid-tribulation to post-tribulation. That is from the rebellious year, which is the year 13, to the years that all vengeance will be fulfilled, which is the year 14, according to Luke chapter 22, verse 21. Today is the this month is the 7th month that all vengeance in the scriptures are fulfilled because of the proclamation. So he says Damascus was feeble and turned himself to flee, and fear has seized on her. Anguish and sorrows have taken her as a woman in travail. How is the city of praise not left? The city of joy. Let me take my last point from verse 27. It says, and I will kindle a fire in the wall of Damascus. Who said it? It's the omnipotent God, the creator. And this is the timing I was waiting, because I've got the calendar that I showed you during the previous episodes, talking about the calendar, which we would look into it in the subsequent episodes. I'm talking about when the education starts on telly, that you can call people to interact with us. So the Lord said, I will kindle a fire in the walls of Damascus, and it shall consume the palaces of Ben-Ahad, which is Ben-Assad now. So concerning certain cities, I'm talking about the first capitals, Christ or God is in control. So this prophecy was also revealed to, the same prophecy was revealed to Amos. Let me quickly cross-check. It's just to let you know that what America is doing, or what the whole world is doing to tackle Damascus or Syria is non-entity. It does not have any root or bearing from the scriptures.
prophecy.
That is correct. So he says in Amos chapter 1, we can look at it from verse 3. He says, "Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Damascus, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because it wax feeble." I said it in Jeremiah. Because they have what? Threshed Gilead with threshing instrument of iron. But I will send a fire into the house of Hazael, which links to the prophecy of Elijah, that the Lord told him that I am go to the wilderness of Damascus and make Hazael the head of the whole world. But then he made
So what is the implication of the release of the red horses in Damascus to the world?
It is about the troublous time that we are killing each other. In other words, the firstborns are killing each other. The church members are being seduced and killed by their pastors. That's their heads. And the politicians are seducing the voters and then always and constantly using lying tongue to approach them to say, vote us on power, we will do this. But when their tenure of office expired after 4 years, it comes back to square one and there is no change. But because they are using divination, which is divination by intelligence, to seduce the populace, which are the 90% they are ruling over, they cannot go to much, or they cannot amount to much. My point is, the firstborns, the release of the red horse is the firstborns sucking blood. So if you can say that Afghanistan, they use suicide bombers against themselves, it's not your cup of tea. Because your pastor is sucking your blood out of your sweat. That is the same spiritual connotation. Somebody cannot rise up from America to touch Iraq. Otherwise, if he has, that's the release of the red horse. So these activations were done already. That's why it has happened.
The release of the red horse is the activation of certain violence.
To take blood out. And out of that, 1/3 of the world's population will die by themselves. So we have to...
So the rising conflicts is part of the plan.
It's part of God's plan. It's mentioned in study Revelation 8. So all these things that are suicide bombing, the church sucking blood, the king sucking blood, and nation rising against nation, it would eventually wipe 1/3 of the population easily, automatically. Then the 4 horses, which is the 4 governors, would clamp down on 1/3 of the leftover.
Before the white horse is released.
Before the white horse is released. So after this, the white horse is released.
Alright, details of the white horse right after the break. Stay with us.
Because your pastor is sucking your blood out of your sweat. That is the same spiritual connotation. Somebody cannot rise up from America to touch Iraq. Otherwise, if he has, that's the release of the red horse. So these activations were done already. That's why it has happened.
The release of the red horse is the activation of certain violence.
To take blood out. And out of that, 1/3 of the world's population will die by themselves. So we have to...
So the rising conflicts is part of the plan.
It's part of God's plan. It's mentioned in study Revelation 8. So all these things that are suicide bombing, the church sucking blood, the king sucking blood, and nation rising against nation, it would eventually wipe 1/3 of the population easily, automatically. Then the 4 horses, which is the 4 governors, would clamp down on 1/3 of the leftover.
Before the white horse is released.
Before the white horse is released. So after this, the white horse is released.
Alright, details of the white horse right after the break. Stay with us. back from the break. Governor Juman giving us some insight into the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and we're taking a look at the White Horse now.
Right.
So then the White Horse will have to be released because there will be rise in violence, nations against nations, and all that.
When the Pharisees and the kings of the world came to him and said, give us the sign of the end time, he says, no, I will not give you any sign of the end time, but I will give you what? The sign of Jonah, which he said, Nineveh will rise up against themselves and judge themselves, which is the release of the red horse. So the release of the red horse was done by Christ in Matthew 12. Do you understand? Which has run through the show till now.
Then let's look at the White Horse. Right.
Then that's where I am now. So the White Horse brings the going forth to conquer, and in conquering, in other words, you pursue your enemy. So 1/3 is white, but we who are sitting on the White Horse have power to kill 1/3. It's also here. You can study it from.
If the 1/3 is not yet fulfilled.
No, that one, it wouldn't be fulfilled. We are to kill them according to the power we've got. In other words, if they deny our governorship, we will deny their position. So the killing is not physical, it's to demote them. As Paul said in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, that the fire...
But that of the release of the red horses is physical killing.
It's
physical killing. And the White Horse is spiritual killing.
Yeah, the release of the red horse is physical killing, as I've explained.
Which 1/3 of the world is supposed
to die from.
But is 1/3 of the world, as we speak now, wiped off?
Almost certainly, because you don't have eyes to see. We have eyes to, that's why I was buying time to meet the release of the White Horse, which we have come. So almost certainly. Do you understand? In which I explained that the killing is physical, spiritual captivity, and then emotional captivity. Do you understand? So you can be in captivity somewhere. In other words, you are dead. Like you'll be at age 25.
So
and then at age 50 you are buried, but you are dead. In other words, you marry, you will drink, you will have cars, you can fly, you can have business, but at age 25 you were on, but you'll be buried at 50. That is Timamuhuni. In other words, the living of the dead. You live, but you are dead. You are not part of the game. That is what is going to happen to the 5-4 minutes. Once I have proclaimed the trumpet call, their powers are what? Demoted or abased. Do you understand? So now, the release of the White Horse.
That is called the 1/3 you're talking about.
As I'm talking about, because the book of Revelation 9 or Zechariah 11 explained that he will smite the shepherds, which is the firstborns, the political kingdom, the kings, and the church, the democratic world, the democracy that I explained. So which I am doing it now. I'm smiting them as with my tongue, because it's the tongue that we're using to rule. Every member of the body is tamed, but you cannot tame the tongue. As in, you can check it in the book of James. So all I'm trying to say that I have come to smite the shepherds. And when you smite the shepherds, the flock will scatter. But out of the flock, we will have 1/3, which will be refined for Christ. So the population as it stands now in the world, 1/3 is for Christ. 1/3 is for Lucifer, which he drew with his tail, and they are now operating as the democratic world with the monarchy and the church and the kings. And then 1/3 will say they won't go to either left or to either right. So those
So you are the White Horse.
I am the White Horse.
All right, and one indication of the White Horse is the White Horse comes after the Red Horses come.
That's correct.
Now, the world, since its inception, its population has never declined. It keeps increasing. So what justifies the death of 1/3 of the world for even the White Horse to be released in the first place?
Which is why you have to have the spiritual eyes, as I'm talking about. When the children of Israel were released,
because I can see the death of 1/3 of the world for the White Horses to be released.
It's sad that you don't have eyes to see. Because what I'm trying to say is that when Israel were released from Egypt, the Lord asked Moses and then Eliezer, after the death of Aaron, to count them. When they counted them, they were in short of numbers as they came from Egypt. You see, that's the declination. You are not part of the counting. When King David was asked to count the Israelites, he realized that they were in short. But those days they were giving birth. But to add more understanding to what you mean, I made mention of three captivities: physical, spiritual, and emotional captivity. So people have been brittle. In other words, they've been asked to keep quiet because they don't know anything. That's what we are going to do to the pastors. That according to Romans 3:19, let every mouth be stopped, that the whole world can be judged. We are stopping all the mouth. That is the killing, spiritual killing. We stop your mouth, we dry your church, because it will be revealed by fire, which is a white horse.
All right, so let's look at the duty of the white horse.
The duty of the white horse is to pursue. The duty is defined in Revelation 19. The duty, because this is the revelation the lady saw about me, that I was sitting on a white horse. So let's see.
The money is not supposed to be put in their microfinances bank, and I insist, there is no commandment in this world, if not Ghana, that pastors are sitting now for radio presenters to use God's name throughout the day and mock our God. No radio presenter or TV presenter that has been called by Christ. They are journalists. They should stay in their vocation that the Lord has called them. Enough is enough by using the name of our God in vain. It's the reason why Ghana is sinking. I'm warning Ghanaians that Ghana is the new Jerusalem kingdom, and nobody should be allowed to use the Bible to swear in any court, because you don't believe our God, which is King David's throne. We have come to stay. We are ruling the world. My point is that it's been a time that Ghanaians should be enlightened that it is not what you believe that the Constitution of Ghana will allow you to swear on.